What's up everyone, it's Iskander here, welcome back to Tech Pulse. In this urgent video we're going to cover the main crypto altcoins to look out for in the coming months as we get it for the final leg of this bull market. This one is going to be a banger, so watch till the end for best crypto projects. As always, anything we say in this video is not financial advice and for education and entertainment purposes. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. You can join our free Discord group via the attached link. Alright, so let's firstly look at crypto bubbles. I'm looking at banter bubbles in this case, so just a shout out to them for building a much more improved view of the crypto bubbles. You can filter on a lot more things like ecosystems, major narratives, as you can see here. So as part of this video, we're going to look at select few narratives, in particular the ones that are going to do well in 2025 this year in the final leg of this bull market. So the ones that have the most potential, firstly starting with the lowest risk and decent upside, would be layer ones. So you've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, you've got projects like Casper, Sui in there. Then you've sort of venturing out into the other side of the risk curve, where you get larger returns in terms of multiples. You've got AI, so that always pumps as when Bitcoin has a major leg up. You can see this narrative has been up about 22% on the recent Bitcoin price hike. So within this category, we've got projects like Tensor, Tau, we've got Render, Thet, Near. There's a whole range of different projects. I think Virtuals, which is a platform for AI agents, has been doing exceptionally well in the last week. So we'll get into Virtuals in a minute. Then, of course, we've got RWAs, which hasn't pumped that much, only 8% increase. So in that bucket, we've got projects like Ondo, Mantra, Plume, etc. So they're basically tokenizing real world assets, whether it's real estate, gold, or equities. Then you've got, of course, memes, right? And this has the biggest potential, and so do this narrative of AI agents. Within memes, we've got projects like Doge. Of course, that's the longest standing meme, about 15 years or more now. We've got Shiba from the prior cycle. It's a bit of a legacy coin now. Bonk, which is on Solana. Dog with Hat. There's lots more there. Layer 2s, which is Ethereum, largely layer 2s for the roll-ups. You've Optimism, Immutable X, interestingly, is within that bucket as well. And of course, GameFi. So GameFi has been smacked around in the face in the last 2 years, so you got to watch out. This usually comes around when there's major gaming news, such as Grand Theft Auto or anything that happens in the sort of real world, and then it translates into crypto as liquidity flows in. That's a bit of the risky one in my view. What else can we call that? Deepin. There's a whole heap of projects within Deepin. Distributed infrastructure networks for AI and computational power. And then there's obviously utility things like DeFi. Lots of DeFi projects on all the major chains such as Ethereum, Binance, Sui, etc. Oracle is not particularly interesting. They just integrate stuff. I'm not very interested in that, to be honest. And then DEX is again very volatile, but can be very profitable. So you've got Uniswap there, you've got projects such as Certus on Sui, so on and so forth. And then lending, I kind of see that DeFi and lending in the same bucket. Smart contracts on the right hand side, which overlaps quite a lot with layer ones. So that's just a major narratives to look out for. Now let's look at major best performance in the last month. So we can see, like I said, AI agents had a strong comeback. Virtuals, which is a major the biggest AI agent infrastructure platform, it's gone up significantly. Now this particular narrative and a lot of the projects within that space have been smacked really hard, 80-90% down, just on the prior 30% correction that we've seen due to macro tariff wars and things like that going on. So because it's up 183% doesn't mean it's actually up. It's only up a little bit after 90% drop to get to cover back those profits and head back to the all-time highs. It's actually, you need more than 1,000% to get there. That's just how the maths works. So watch out jumping into that. It's highly risky. Of course, we've got projects within the AI narrative such as Tower. That is a major, it's a layer one with tokenomics similar to Bitcoin in terms of the total supply being 21 million. It's gone up 57%. I think a single tower was worth about $350. There's a lot of speculation that it'll do another 10x, and through its 350 times 10 is about 3,500. So I remember buying this about 2-3 years ago when it was still over the counter at $20 a tower. That's how long I've been in this market. So what that means is just watch out. Because everyone's hyping it up doesn't mean that it's going to get to 3,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, similar to what Bitcoin is worth. We've got render, obviously. It's GPU rendering. It's supports all of the AI infrastructure as well now. Solana has had a major recovery as well, from about $95 to $150 or so now, across the layer ones. And Sui is a standout to me as well, 46%, huge pump leading into the Basecamp event that's happening now in Dubai. Casper, another big holding of mine. I love that project. It's a proof of work layer one, built on, effectively it's a Bitcoin 2.0, built on the Nakamoto consensus. It's got a really interesting distribution model. It's highly distributed mined project. There's lots of videos on our channel on Casper, so just dial into those videos for more information on what this project is about. And then just quickly covering off, obviously, memes like Bonk on Solana. That's gone up, 20,000% since its lows. Filecoin, obviously, people just gamble on projects like Filecoin. It's hilarious. And then what else is worth mentioning? Pepe is there. It's a largest meme on Ethereum right now. I think even larger, or getting close to Shiba Inu market cap. That's one to look out for. I think it retraced like 70% to 3 billion from 10 billion. It will hopefully cover that, recover from that. Hype, of course, Hyperliquid, which is another layer one for trading, leverage trading. Alright, so that's top 100. We're not going to deep dive into any of these, but if we look at the top 200 deep on Sui, which is an order book project, I hold quite a bit of this token. Fantastic project. We can talk about that, more of that later. And then, of course, the honorable mentions are the memes. You've got Pengu, Dog with Hat, Popcat, Turbo, Brett. Now all of them dump 70 to 90%. So just because they've recovered 100% doesn't mean that I mean they're nowhere near where they need to be. Obviously, they have quite a bit of upside and highly reflexive, and people like to trade in because that's how you make a lot of money. Obviously, A16Z is there too. I think this is an agent-based project. I can argue whether, we'll get into agents a little bit later. So, looking at the coin market cap, we're at 3 trillion. All-time high was about 3.74, I believe, just late last year, 2024. We're still in neutral territory, 55, so we're neither here or there, a bit stagnant, everyone's waiting for BTC to, break 100k and head to 100, all-time high, set a new all-time high, and then, we're off to the races again. Are we in an altcoin season? No, we're not. It's Bitcoin season. Only some alts are pumping, as per the ones that we looked at. A proper altcoin season needs significant, billions of dollars flowing into alts. So we're not quite there yet. All right, so out of the top 100, the ones we're going to cover today would be Solana, Sui, Hyperliquid, Pepe, Bitensa, Ondo, Casper, Render, so on and so forth. Right, Bonk we'll probably look at as well. Say is a good one. Walrus, new project on Sui, store for storage. Brett, Dog with Hat, all interesting ones. So just looking back, jumping back into crypto bubbles, I think this is a really interesting view. We can see, since the start of the year, which are the best performance, and that sort of sets the trend for this year and a good reference point for what to buy and hold. So Virtuals is there, obviously. That's quite 14x since the start of the year. I think AI agents sort of launched early or late last year. Hence why it's up so much. Sui is there, it's gone up over 100%. Just in the last week, on some major announcements. And now we've got Brett, Bitcoin's up 66%. That's incredible. All right, so this is another great resource for degen type projects. Cookie.fun, similar to, I suppose, coin market cap. You can see here 7, all the kind of major tokens to look out for, like Filecoin Virtuals Turbo, A16Z, Toshi on Base, AI XBT on Base. There's a lot of Base projects worth keeping an eye on. But the ones, let's just jump into the ones we're going to look at. Firstly, starting with Casper. That's my favorite project. It's in my top 3. You can see it's gone up 51,000%. That's over 500x. I personally made about 50x on this project from its market cap of about 50 million in 2022. It had an all-time high of 20 cents. Since it's retraced, it's still a really good-looking chart compared to the memes, etc. And that's in terms of risk and reward and on the upside, it's got an incredible upside. From here, I think it'll get to probably 52 cents to $1. And once things, market gets really bullish, non-financial advice, of course. So look out for this. There's lots of videos we've been posting on Tech Pulse on Casper. So, look into those videos. See at $3.50. Its market cap of about 12 billion now. It was about 15 billion just a few months ago, late last year, when the market peaked price all-time high was about $5.40. Since it retraced to dipped to about $1.60, which isn't visible on this chart, but I've accumulated quite a lot on this dip here, as well as, you know, between $1 and $1.50, and even you know, I think it was in 2023 when this project launched, I was lucky to be one of the early participants in the whitelisting campaign for Sui. So no joke, I bought Sui at 4.5 cents, which is consistent with some of the VCs at that initial offering stage. So just watch out, you know, if it gets to 10, like some of the price estimates and where this is heading, you know, based on what I just said, right, for obvious reasons, and you know, taking profits at the right point. So that's an excellent project. The team behind it is ex-Facebook. They're basically rewriting the internet and all of the infrastructure underneath it using the Sui protocol, which consists of different building blocks, such as then their service, the Deepbook, Waterbook project, Walrus for storage. There'll be other sort of 2-3 major projects coming, which will build the foundations of Sui Network, which will transform and disrupt the crypto space and the Web 2.0 space. Sui is in my top 3, other than Casper. Alright, so now looking at some of the other projects, such as Walrus here. I'm not sure what let's go back into it. So Walrus, just launched in March from a low of about 46 cents. It's gone up to about 67 cents, and this is a storage project on Sui. It's basically backed by the core teams, by Miston Labs, and it's a key core building block for storage. Now, this is an excellent project to buy and accumulate. I think it's going to do really well. So it's got 38% since its lows, which is great. Deepbook, again, so it sort of kicked things off from about 3 cents in October last year. I was buying it at about 5 cents here, and then held to this point, and then sold around about this region here. Most of it, I took profits into Sui. I bought Sui at about $1.70, $2, because I knew this is highly reflective against Sui, and the strategy behind that is you buy, take profits out of sort of secondary projects like Deepbook and Walrus and accumulate more Sui, because Sui is that's the core token that holds all the value. So the strategy is you'd want to hold maybe 90, if you have 100% allocated to the Sui ecosystem, you'd want to hold 90% in Sui, and then the rest in the ecosystem projects such as Deep and Walrus. So anyway, so I bought again. I knew that it's gonna go, back up very quickly, right? It's like a huge spring. You can see it's gone up massively previously. It's going to do the same, and I knew when it dropped it would be a perfect time to buy, so I bought again, and it's done roughly 4x from 5 cents. It hasn't had any major listings, so there's no Binance, there's no tier 1s. What that means is, price will probably 10x from here, so that's a good one to look into. Alright, so what else have we got? We got Solana. Of course, Solana is the big daddy. It's a top 5 currency. I don't know what the rank is. So I've held it since 2020. The top, took some profits. Probably should have taken more. But when it dropped to $8 back in the FTX collapse, and since then I bought more, and then Solana was a pretty major stake for me in my portfolio, but I've actually reduced my Solana to almost nothing in favor of SUI, so I can transfer all the profits into SUI. So that's my main holding, because Solana, I don't believe it doesn't have much of an upside this cycle. We only have 6 to 12 months of this final bull market leg left, in my view, before we have a major sort of retracement. So where can we, it may have a 3x from here potential. So all-time high was, I sold all of my Solana. I knew it when Trump launched the project on Solana. That was the high in the short term for Solana, or in the medium term. So I sold all of it, and now it's it obviously retraced all the way down to about $95, which isn't reflected on this chart. And now it's heading back up, so it might do 500. We might see a $500 Solana. Who knows? If things get really bullish, can it get there? It's an $80 billion project, so that means 80 times 3 will be what's that? 16, 24, over 200 billion, which is a lot, right? That needs a lot of liquidity flowing into it. Time will tell. It's not a bad one. If you have 100,000 or $1 million to invest, it's a relatively good bet in a strong ecosystem for a 3x return. Otherwise, I'd just be leverage trading this 3 to 5 to 10x when Bitcoin is going up again, which is pretty much the time is now. Hyperliquid, new project, launched in December 24. A lot of hype, obviously. It's gone up quite a bit. So what was the all-time high price? About $32. And then market cap $6.80. So it's not $6, not about 10 billion. So it's not a bad project. There's a lot of hype behind it. It's ultra fast. It's had some good listings. It's not listed on Binance. It's 6 billion. So it might do, I don't know, 5x in the bullish case. Worth looking out for. BitTensor Tau, excellent AI network based on the principles and tokenomics of Bitcoin, which is 21 million the total supply, 3 billion. The chart is looking really positive. You had the opportunity to buy it in 23 at $30, $40, $30. It's 10x since then. Is it a good time to buy? Maybe. You may have 5x to 10x left in the tank. We'll see. A lot of big institutions are really bullish on this project. It's listed on all the major exchanges, including Binance, Kraken, etc. If you would want to make a bet on the crypto AI, this would be the thing to hold. Now, I don't actually hold any at this stage, and I could buy it. It dipped to 160. I had some funds allocated, but instead I bought SUI. I'm just more bullish on SUI than Tau. That's just me, personal preference. Now looking at NIA, that's a bit of a legacy long-term project established in 2020. So it's been through 2 cycles now, finishing the second cycle. It hasn't really had much of not a great performer till it hasn't really reached all-time highs. It rebranded itself as an AI project. Is it really AI? It's more of a layer 1. I've sold it here when it hit, I don't know, $6 or something, around about here, or in the bear market. So it hasn't really done much for me. I was hoping for $20 NIA last year or so, but it never got there, so I just sold it off. But I think, as an AI narrative, it's in the sort of the top 5 there. A lot of people are really bullish on it. Okay, so what else we've got left? We've got Say. Render, of course, the GPU rendering project. I bought Render at 50 cents in the bear market, and I sold chunks at $12, some even at $6, $7. Put profits into Sui, into Casper, and that's just me. That's my preference, It's an interesting one. It's in the AI bucket, listed on all the major exchanges, and then Say, of course, a lot of people are bullish on it highly. It's a fast layer one. It had a significant retracement. I don't think I ever held any Say, but I think that would be a worthwhile investment given how far it retraced, and there's still significant upside. 1 billion, it could be a 10x from here, even more, 10, 15, 20x. Render, we talked about Ondo, which is part of the real world assets, so that's one of the flagship projects worth looking into, worth about 3 billion. At the all-time high, it was about 5 billion. Mantra, the other one, got decimated because of hedge funds and early VCs selling it, and their team not able to control it. Nobody really knows what actually happened, and I'm so glad I didn't buy Mantra. Let's actually look at Mantra. Has it recovered at all? No, it hasn't. Still in the dumps. Look at that. Boom. From $8 all the way down to 44 cents in 24 hours. So it's effectively a rug. Everyone's been rug pulled. Can you imagine? It's horrible. So that's what could happen with VC tokens any moment. 3 billion. I think still lots of upside, maybe 5x. So out of the memes, I think I've got memes left here. We've got Pepe, which is on Ethereum. That's the largest Ethereum. That's got the most hype. But the meme, 3.7 billion, was about, what is that, 10 billion? Let me just switch over. So, so it had 11 billion at its highest, at its all-time high, retraced back down. So I think there's still probably 5x left in the tank. Largest meme, Pepe, the whole Pepe narrative is excellent. Then we've got Bonk on Solana. I remember looking at Bonk when it was about 50 million, and then it went all the way up to 3.7 billion. Can you believe that? And I didn't buy any when it dumped. Same with Pepe. I remember looking at it when it was worth 50 million back in 22, and I didn't buy any because I thought it was just going to be another rug pull, and it's done like 1,000x. Same with Bonk. You win some, you lose some. You don't there's only so many tokens you can hold within a portfolio and be able to track it all together and see what has the most potential. Memes are so risky. So Bonk is another good one. Probably will have a decent upside again. 1.7 maybe, and 5 to 10x. Virtuals obviously has been going up. This would have been a great time to buy. AI Agents Framework, 1 billion, all-time high was about 4.57 billion. So that could be a good one. Lots of hype, but I would treat this like a meme. It's effectively a meme. Has it got utility? Not really. Its utility is launching tokens, coins. At this stage means nothing. There's no real AI behind it. Brett, that's within the Pepe narrative. One of Pepe's friends, Brett on base. I've held Brett and I bought it at I think 250 million, around about there. wrote it up, sold some, well, sold all actually at the high here, and then sold some here, and now it's back down again. 645, so it's got probably 10 to 20x potential. That's a good one. That's a big project. It doesn't have Binance listing. It's obviously a base project, so question is, will Binance list a base project competitor, because it's on a coin-based project effectively. And then the last thing we've got, Dog with Hat on Solana. It's done exceptionally well at the all-time high, price of $4.20, which is 4 billion. Yeah, I think that now is you could argue it's a good time to buy. It retraced quite a lot back to the floor, so it's got probably 10x or more potential. And then Pudgy Penguins, which is the NFT project, it's been some airdrops. I've got some of the airdrop, sold it all. I think it's got some potential. Only recently, end of last year, that's when the token launched, so that could be a good one. So that's all of this video on altcoins. There'll be more similar updates on these cryptocurrencies and more coming, so please subscribe to Tech Pulse. I'm Iskander, and thank you for watching. See ya.